The USL has announced an exclusive negotiation agreement with the City of Brownsville, and what's in store for the immediate future for the RGV Red Crowns. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time you're watching this video. Welcome to another News and Rumors segment for the Down in the Valley podcast. My name is Edson Ochoa, and today I sat down with RGV Red Crowns President Jamal Colby Fayyad to talk about their inaugural season. But first, I do have some bombshell news I want to discuss straight out of Southmost. After almost 2 years of no USL soccer presence since the abrupt cease of operations of the RGV FC Toros, the United Soccer League announced on Wednesday, September 17th, that the City of Brownsville and the USL had entered into exclusive negotiations over the next year to evaluate the viability of the city and its surrounding area of supporting soccer teams and opportunities to enhance entertainment options for the community. The release further describes that the terms of the viability study would be for the transformation of Brownsville Sports Park and the surrounding area as a stadium-anchored mixed-use district. In other words, the plan is to remodel or build a completely new stadium in the property, which would include bars, retail lots, apartment complexes, or maybe even hotels. An example of this type of development is the Battery Atlanta near Truist Park, home of the Atlanta Braves. Justin Papadakis, USL Deputy CEO and Chief Real Estate Officer, declared, quote, "As the anchor to a rapidly growing metropolitan area, Brownsville is one of the youngest, most dynamic regions in the country. It's also home to some of the most passionate soccer fans, making it an ideal location for a soccer club. The Brownsville Sports Park is a gem to the local community, and we're excited to work with the City of Brownsville to explore ways we can enhance it as a home for professional soccer while positioning Brownsville as a top destination for soccer and entertainment in South Texas." Mayor John Cohen Jr. also stated, quote, "We are supportive of forging a long-term partnership with the USL because it aligns with our vision for sustainable economic growth, responsible public investment, and a vibrant, inclusive future for Brownsville. The possibility of reimagining the Brownsville Sports Park as a stadium-anchored entertainment district is a positive move, as it has the potential to create jobs, support our small businesses, attract private investment, and give families year-round amenities while inspiring the next generation of athletes." So what does the league mean when they announce an exclusive negotiation with the city? Basically, it means that the City of Brownsville and the surrounding area, not sure what the official's radius is if it even exists, cannot be courted by any other professional league. In other words, the USL has basically told leagues like MLS Next Pro that they have called dibs on the city for 1 year and therefore cannot lure any other project or ownership group in the area to join their league within that year. Interestingly, Brownsville is not the only city in the country where the USL has announced an exclusivity agreement recently. Upon researching the subject, I stumbled upon the news from April 16, 2025 of Santa Rosa, California's intent to enter the USL system and the establishment of a 1-year exclusivity agreement with the city. Sound familiar? Both announcements also seem to focus on the real estate and economic growth opportunities of the region should the franchise be awarded, but neither make any mention of any ownership group that is backing said project, nor an official decision regarding the tier the franchise will participate in. In fact, because of this observation, some members of the USL subreddit warned a curious Santa Rosa fan that the announcement did not confirm the existence of a concrete plan for a potential USL franchise in the future. User Coltons13, a Pittsburgh Riverhounds fan, added, quote, "USL likes to do this to drum up hype and make it seem like they're constantly adding new places for publicity. The only announcements you should take seriously are those where an owner and a concrete stadium plan are attached. Those are the ones that actually happen." Another user, Minifridge23, warned, quote, "A pitfall to avoid from experience in Wilmington is don't assume it's a guaranteed thing, sadly. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but more if you are excited about this, then do what you can to drum up support, like attend relevant city council meetings or something. USL to Wilmington was announced in 2022, and then everything fell apart. Maybe by 2027 we have a team, but I doubt it at this point." In fact, if you look at the USL to Wilmington website, it reads, "Our goal is to field the USL League One professional soccer club in 2024. Last time I checked, we're already in 2025. According to Brenna Flanagan of the Port City Daily, The Wilmington to USL movement has proven to be more of a feat than the organizing group USL to Wilmington planned, prompting the group to explore opportunities in other cities. Yikes. Other recent exclusivity agreements include Pensacola, Florida, Pico Rivera, California, and Modesto, California. In fact, Modesto's exclusivity expired on September 11th of this year, with no official update on a formal finalization of an agreement between the city and the league. In summary, the announcement made last week by the USL does not guarantee that Brownsville will be one of the next cities in the country to field the USL franchise. As much as I would love to see pro soccer back in the Rio Grande Valley, I kind of have to agree with the Redditors on this one. I mean, until I see a concrete plan in regards to ownership, maybe even the league that the team wants to potentially play in the future, I think this announcement is more of a nothing burger to me. In fact, I really think, and I think, I told the guys in the chat a couple days ago that it's almost like we're putting the carriage before the horse. I mean, we have this situation where there's an announcement being made, instead of actually having a president of whether League One or League Two, the USL representative that's being quoted is the chief real estate officer, but yet we don't have ownership groups like usually other announcements have, where this ownership group, this owner, or this ownership group is interested, or not even interested, but actually is actually putting up a concrete bid for a USL franchise. You've got all the details ironed up. Let me put it to you this way. Until the USL says that the USL has awarded a franchise to the City of Brownsville, there's really nothing concrete about it, right? This is just the early stages of the talks. You've got 1 year to plan this out, to make sure that it is viable for both the USL and the City of Brownsville. This involves you as the community, right? So you want to be, in this upcoming year, you want to prove that Brownsville is a viable city for USL. The community is going to have to show up. The community is going to have to attend, like Mini Fridge said, you're going to have to attend these local meetings, right? If you want to show USL, you want to show the City of Brownsville that the community really does want professional soccer in their city. Because if nobody shows up, if nobody is pumped up, right, or at least helping in a way to drum up the interest that they claim there is in the City of Brownsville, the USL is going to turn around, kind of like they did with Modesto, California, and say, yeah, it's not viable. Yeah, we're not granting you a USL franchise or anything. But yeah, those are my thoughts regarding the USL to Brownsville announcement. Like I said, we're going to have to wait to see more concrete details being given. At this point, really nothing in this tells me that there's a serious bid going on with actual potential to become a USL franchise. I think this is just something to kind of drum up the interest at best, right? So, but I guess we'll see. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But before I go, I did mention that I did sit down with Jamal Colby Fayyad, president of the RGV Red Crowns. I will be posting the interview in the next couple of days, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek of some of the topics that we discussed. How's it going, everybody? Glad to be here once again. I did want to mention before, talking with our guest today, kind of talked a little bit about, the news about USL Brownsville, kind of set the record straight on what has actually been officialized by USL, by the City of Brownsville, right? But right now, let's go ahead and switch our focus back to Harlingen, Texas, because right now we've got RGV Red Crowns President Jamal Colby Fayyad here in the Down in the Valley podcast. Colby, how are you, man?
Hey, Edson, doing great. I gotta say, I think I have a new favorite background for podcasts. Love what you have going on here. I love the little bird in the back. Love the foul setup.
And I haven't painted it yet. I've been meaning to try to find ceramic paint to paint it to actually look like a red crown. But Colby, I mean, it was a season that, all of a sudden came for the Rio Grande Valley, in just a couple of weeks, months, this went from being the RGV Pro Soccer Project to the RGV Red Crowns to all of a sudden now you had your first signings from the Rio Grande Valley, their debut in the league for clubs, and now we're actually in, I guess you could call it the off season within the league for clubs. I mean, I'm assuming that just how much of a short turnaround this was, from idea to the first game at Harlingen Field. How was that experience for you? What was some of the, I guess you could say, some of the challenges that came up upon you and the organization leading up to this inaugural season?
Yeah, so while on social media and online, it might have seemed like a short turnaround, but this was a 3-year project, from idea to pen to paper to coming up with brand and everything. It was a 3-year project. I think what took us the longest was solidifying our home field. And keep in mind, we looked everywhere, and that's another reason why we're called the Rio Grande Valley Red Crowns, because we looked in Edinburgh, we looked in Far, throughout the valley. We looked for a home. We wanted something that made sense. Centrally located would have been ideal, but I wanted a football or a soccer pitch. I don't want to play on a baseball diamond. I don't want to play on football lines. Like, we're in a market with an educated fan base. We're in a market where people already know soccer. They have their favorite clubs. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I'm going to let's just say Tigres fan, if I'm going to a devoted Tigres fan, and then he comes to my field and he sees a baseball diamond, there you go, and
Mm-hmm.
he sees a baseball diamond, we already lose credibility with that fan.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardest part initially was finding the home, and once we did, it had a baseball diamond. So we asked the city, can we clean it up, make it a proper pitch. So that was step one. The second hardest part of this whole thing was, as you mentioned, we started out as the Rio Grande Valley Soccer Project. And that was because we took everyone's feedback on what they wanted this club to be named, what colors they wanted. And so trying to host tryouts when your name is the RGV Soccer Project, trying to convince players to join you when you don't even know, or not, we knew we didn't have, we couldn't announce the name of the league we were in. We couldn't announce where we were playing yet. We couldn't announce our team name or colors. That was a hard sell. I gotta, give credit to Zach Hargraves and Corey Lundeen and Jack, and and all of our out of town guys, for believing in Coach Arez into coming down, because they came down to an idea. They didn't come down to a club that had a history or had proof of performance. They came down to an idea. They believed in this idea. And I'd like to say that it paid off, for those guys. So those were the two biggest challenges. And you have no idea how happy I am that I don't have to deal with either of those this year. Right now, we're just focused on putting the strongest team together and building off where we left off last season.
Before we start talking about a little bit about what the future brings, for the RGV Red Crowns, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the team that was built for the 2025 season. I mean, what do you think was the biggest improvement that you saw, or considering that most of the players that we had this season, but overall, as a roster, were you expecting the kind of, you could call it a results and success that the team actually ended up acquiring, being so close to making it to the playoffs in their inaugural season?
Um, as a president, I should say yes. We knew it the whole time. To be honest with you, I didn't. I was confident in our staff. I knew we had people in place that belonged there. Both of our coaches have UEFA A license. Our goalkeeper coach played at this level, won the national championship with the NPSL, won a state title in high school. Was the first UTRGV goalkeeper. Our staff, from Coach Arez, Coach Reina, um, they all belonged here, and I had all the confidence in them. And I always joke, I want to be the opposite of what Jerry Jones is. I don't want any say in what happens. I have my beliefs and I have my theories on who should play where and who should start this game, but I purposely stay out of it. So with that being said, I didn't know what to expect. My biggest concern was that we would have guys who did really good things in high school and here locally. And I say that because a lot of our guys were former Toros Academy players, and you're confident because of what you did here locally. My concern was people or our players wouldn't respect this level of soccer. Um, Semi-pro soccer, for what it is, it's competitive, and you're getting the best that college has to offer, and you're creating these all-star teams around the country to go out and compete. Now, where we want it to be different is this club, and it's in our mission statement. Part of this is to create opportunities for local guys. I could easily go out and get a full roster of out-of-town kids, and we could win with the coaching staff we have. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to help provide opportunities and win ultimately. But we want to get kids from the valley to that next level. And so with that being said, my concern was that these local guys, we were 90% locally, a local squad. I wanted them to respect the competition, and we strategically set up a closed preseason match. I'm about to give you guys an exclusive scoop here. We set up a preseason match with Laredo Heat, and we intentionally did that because Laredo Heat is a very good USL2 club. They have just great talent, and we knew that we would get beat pretty badly. And I want to say that final score was 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew about that. We intentionally kept that behind closed doors because that was a learning lesson for our squad. This is what you're going to expect when you play semi-pro ball. The reason we didn't let it out to the public was nobody saw us play on a pitch. No, we were just an idea. And so could you imagine the first thing you hear, take UTRGV, for example, their first game, they win 66-0 or whatever it is, and people are excited. Could you imagine the first game you hear about the Red Crowns, they lost 7-1. You're like, these guys aren't worth anything. But I don't think people realize how good Laredo Heat are either. Laredo Heat is always in contention for playoffs, and they go far in the playoffs. And so it's an amazing program, and we wanted to show these guys what to expect. And I'm so grateful for that preseason match because it was almost instantaneous. It clicked for these guys. And that following Monday, practice was entirely different because it woke everybody up. And so I think that was the biggest thing when it comes to the season. I mean, we were in the hunt for the playoffs. I think we surprised a lot of teams. We had two teams that didn't even bother coming down because I think they knew they were going to lose to the team we had here. I think if we had a fully healthy roster for the last 2 weeks, I think we're in the playoffs easily. I think we make even the finals, but we lost some of our best players because of that opportunity. And I tell everybody, if that's the sacrifice we had to take to get these guys to the next level, I'm okay with that. We'll learn from it so that come next year, we're not in that predicament. But this year, it was a learning year, even for myself. And if missing the playoffs meant that 3-4 of our guys went pro, I'm okay with that. I'll take that.
What are some of your upcoming plans for the Red Crowns in regards to this offseason? Doesn't necessarily have to be about, building of the roster, but also, like, for example, what kind of events, since it's such a long turnaround from one season to the next, what are some of the ideas or events that you guys have to continue to keep the Red Crowns brand fresh in the minds of the fans?
Yeah, so there's a lot happening already. There's a lot of stuff that we're working on. So I guess first and foremost, one thing we learned last year, by January, the best college players are already taken. So our coaching staff is already looking at players. They're already looking at the college game. They're already looking at other semi-pro clubs that maybe had a player we really liked and try to recruit. So coaches are already scouting. So I'll leave it there. As far as the competitive side of things, everything else, to your point, we have the longest off season imaginable. There's no other sport that has this long of an off season. So it's important for us to stay relevant, It's important for us to keep the fans informed on what's going on. So if you follow our socials, you'll see that we've been hosting watch parties, and it's Premier League watch parties. And the reason we do that, Edson, I know you spent time in Houston. I grew up in Houston up until high school. Um, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're a Man U fan, if you're a City fan, Juventus, Tigres, America, you name it, you have that bar that you can go watch your team.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that culture yet. And I've mentioned it a million times. We're trying to build a culture here. We're not trying to build a Red Crowns culture. We're trying to build a soccer culture. We have 2 merch drops coming up in the next couple weeks. One of them is with a local designer / artist, and it's very Mexican influenced, and it happens to fall on Hispanic Heritage Month. I think we deserve more than a month, so that's why we're not calling it our Hispanic Heritage Month merchandise drop. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be called our Cotoro collection. Or no, I'm sorry, our Cotoriando collection. So be on the lookout for the Cotoriando collection. Also, I'll give you a little hint here. We have this coming out. I don't know if you can see that.
It's a little ball. Is that a golf ball?
It's a Red Crowns golf ball, and we're doing something with that. So be on the lookout for something involving the Red Crowns and golf. Something we're working on behind the scenes, and we're literally just in the planning phase. So I don't have too much information to give you, but we're working on some kind of like a 3-on-3 tournament, maybe like a futsal 3-on-3 tournament. There's going to be other things involved. We have the Red Crown Lager, so just hinting that. So just think about our lager 3-on-3 tournament. So that's another thing we're working on. And lastly, I don't know if you've played this, Edson, but there's a game out right now called Rematch. We're looking to do something for Rematch players. So if you're what's the game? It's like soccer with the little cars.
Rocket League.
It's like Rocket League, but soccer. So if you're a Rocket League fan, I highly recommend that you check out Rematch. And we're looking to do something with Rematch right now. So those are just ideas that we have that are soccer, focused, but it's not necessarily strictly just Red Crowns. It's just getting the soccer community together.
Is there anything you would like to tell the fans right now? The floor is yours.
Oh man, no pressure. Just first and foremost, thank you to everybody that showed up. Thank you to everybody that watched us on YouTube. Thank you to everybody that engages with us on social media. Again, without you all, there's no Red Crowns. And so we truly want people to feel like this is their club. I guess that's the first thing. The second thing, just keep engaged with us on socials. As I've said, we're going to keep a busy off season. We're going to do as much as we can to keep the fan involved and keep the fan informed. So we'd love to see as many people as we could out there, at the watch parties with us or whatever events we have going on. I do get probably weekly, I get still emails asking about jerseys. So we want to be affordable. So for that reason, we're not going to have a brand new jersey every single year. We'll probably have lifespan of 2 years each kit. So you can sleep easy knowing that you'll have the kit come next season. But for those that weren't able to get a kit, we should be getting the restock in the next month or two. But we've also put in an emphasis on youth sizes. I think we missed the mark there, and I'll take full ownership on that. We should have had more youth sizes. We just went off recommendations. Typically, youth sizes don't sell well, but parents were just asking for them, and they're still asking for them. So to all those looking for jerseys, they're coming. Same design next year. And we will stock up on much more youth sizes. But in the meantime, we have our Cotoriando series coming out. We have our little golf lineup coming out, and just stay engaged. If you ever want to talk soccer, just message us. Usually, all the questions get back to me anyway, and I can talk soccer all day, every day. It's probably unhealthy, but it keeps me sane.
So what are your thoughts? Do you believe that the USL franchise will happen in Brownsville in the near future? Are you excited about what's to come for the Red Crowns? Let me know in the comments below, and as usual, follow us on all our social media like Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Down in the RGV. We thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the next Down in the Valley video.